What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another video. And today we are doing a detailed breakdown of two of the most popular bino harnesses that are available to you on the market today. So we will be looking at the FHF Pro Bino Harness, and we will be comparing it up against the Marsupial Standard Bino Harness. Now, the first thing that I want to say is Marsupial does offer a couple different variety of bino harnesses. I went with their standard version, and we'll talk about why I did that a little bit later in the video. But the first thing that I want to address is what these bino harnesses have in common, and then we will also talk about the differences, the pros and cons, and then at the end of the video we will talk about the price point that you can expect when shopping for both of these harnesses. Now, as far as the similarities go, obviously both of these bino harnesses are chest rigs. They are both manufactured with the Cordura fabric, which is extremely durable. It's low noise, which is obviously beneficial in a hunting situation. Both of them are low profile. They ride somewhat high on the chest, and they also offer a ton of different accessories, giving you the ability to customize these to your preference. Now, I would highly recommend that you guys go over to each of these companies' websites if you're debating between these two bino harnesses, see what is available with their accessories, and then let that help you make a decision on which manufacturer you go with. Now, as far as the differences go, the first thing that I'm going to start with, and this is the most obvious difference, is just how these bino harnesses open. So the Marsupial Bino Harness actually utilizes magnets located on the top. It also has magnets located on the bottom of the bino harness, and this bino harness actually flips forward and then will lock in the open position, which is extremely beneficial, definitely coming from the whitetail woods, because as you're sitting in a tree stand or a saddle, having that bino harness locked in the open position, having it flipped forward, just makes it very easy to access your binos. It's easy to get them in and out when you need to glass an animal that is moving through the woods. Now, when comparing that over to the FHF Bino Harness, this one actually utilizes a hook that is located on the front of the bino harness. It has an elastic cord which keeps it in the closed or locked in the closed position. But when you go to open it, this bino harness does flip up or backwards. Now, a lot of people have posted videos about FHF and they kind of over exaggerate how high this lid comes. It's not to the point where it's hitting you in the face. When this bino harness is on, realistically for me, that lid is only coming to about my chin height. So it's not that big of an issue. But again, when talking about whitetail hunting, if I want to have this in the open position all the time, then basically what I have to do is flip this material behind the bino harness, and the same thing goes with the rangefinder. And for me, that was a little annoying because it did kick this bino harness forward a little bit and made it not uncomfortable, but like I said, it was just annoying. Now, as far as the inside material goes, Marsupial has added a fleece lining, which is extremely nice. It's very quiet. It protects your binos when they're in the harness, and it's not making any noise. Whereas if I compare that over to the FHF Bino Harness, they used like a soft fabric, which again does protect your binos a little bit, but the only issue that I had ran into with this particular bino harness was when I was hunting in cold conditions. And it's not so much the material that they used, but it's the rubber coating on the outside of your binos. For whatever reason, in very cold conditions, I would get a squeaking sound as I was pulling out my binos or putting my binos back in the harness. It wasn't enough to spook an animal, but it was enough to be annoying. So I do think that Marsupial has a better or nicer design with that fleece lining. Now, real quick, let's talk about the outside construction or layout of both of these bino harnesses. So as you can see with the Marsupial, it has a very sleek look to the front. You can access this front zipper pocket, which is pretty large when compared to the FHF pocket. But like I said, you can easily access it. The zipper is right there, and you don't have to worry about actually unlatching your bino harness or unlatching the lid like you do with the FHF. FHF, to access that front zipper pocket, you actually have to undo that elastic cord to be able to access that. But the FHF Bino Harness does have two top top pockets that are located on the lid of the Bino harness, which in my opinion is a small but super awesome feature, because if you are turkey hunting or if you are elk hunting and you're utilizing a mouth call, you can drop those mouth calls into those pockets. As far as like whitetail hunting, as I'm checking cameras, I use these pockets to store old cards and then also new cards. It just makes me a little bit more efficient and organized as I'm swapping out cards in my cameras that I run in the whitetail season. Now, when talking about the side pockets that are available on both of these Bino harnesses, the Marsupial side pockets are a little bit bigger when compared to the FHF Bino harness. You can run like a wind puffer. I run actually a wind puffer and milkweed pretty consistently all through the whitetail season here, but it is large enough that you could actually run a handheld release if that's what you're using. But what's really nice about this side pocket on the Marsupial is they do also give you another 1-inch nylon webbing to attach another accessory. And when you do attach an accessory to the side, you don't lose the functionality of these smaller side pockets. Whereas on the FHF Bino harness, their pockets are pretty small. You're pretty limited to what you can actually put in there. Again, I usually ran a wind puffer and then milkweed. You can also attach a side accessory pocket, like a radio pouch, to the side of this, but the only downside is once you do that, you do lose access to this smaller pocket. So again, that's another benefit of the Marsupial. Now, when talking about the MOLLE webbing located on the bottom of both of these Bino harnesses, the Marsupial Bino harness uses your standard MOLLE webbing, that 1-inch nylon webbing. FHF uses a laminated version of their MOLLE webbing. And in my opinion, the Marsupial is definitely going to hold up over time. Whereas this laminate, if you're constantly adding or changing out accessories on the bottom, you may possibly end up ripping this over time. Like I said, it's just not as durable as the standard MOLLE webbing that is included on the Marsupial. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the buckling system on both of these Bino harnesses. Now, Marsupial, they utilize auto locking buckles. They have 4 separate buckles. Now, the only downside to that is that these 2 top buckles do make this chest rig run a little bit lower when compared to the FHF Bino harness. And then another issue that I was running into is if I was hunting for a long period of time in a tree stand, and say I just want to go stretch my shoulders out, it would expand these buckles and I would get a little bit of squeaking. Again, it's not enough to spook an animal, but it was enough for it to be annoying. Now, in addition to that, being that they're utilizing these auto locking buckles, it is very difficult to adjust the tension of that Bino harness as you're adding or removing layers. Oftentimes it does require you to use 2 hands, whereas the FHF Bino harness, on the top, they're only utilizing this plastic connection where you weave the material back through. So what that does is it allows the Bino harness to run pretty high up on your chest. And then also the buckles that they use make it very quick, very easy to adjust the tension as you're adding in removing layers, and you can just simply do that with one-handed operation. Like I said, the Marsupial does typically require 2 hands. So I do like that a lot about the FHF Bino harness. Next, let's talk about how you're adding the rangefinder pouch, or how you're actually connecting your accessories to the outside of your Bino harness. Now, for Marsupial, they're basically utilizing a standard snap style MOLLE webbing connection, which is pretty standard on most MOLLE accessories, but where they connect this is actually in between the Bino harness and the buckle. Now, the only thing that I didn't like about that is it did not really conform to your body well, whereas the FHF Bino harness, on their rangefinder pouch, they basically have a 2-inch nylon webbing that is sewn permanently to the back of this. It goes over the buckle and secures to the buckle with another piece of nylon material with a Velcro backing. And what I like about it is, like I said, it does conform to your body a little bit nicer. Now, I have personally set my Marsupial Bino harness up exactly how FHF set theirs up. All I did was basically run that snap MOLLE connection point over the buckle. I use the zip tie, which basically locks it in place. It doesn't allow it to move. And then again, it kind of conforms to your body a little bit nicer. So the next thing that I'm going to talk about is price point. So with the FHF, the Bino harness itself is going to be $125. If you want to add the shoulder straps, which I would highly recommend, these padded shoulder straps, that's going to run you another 25 bucks. The rangefinder pouch is going to run you 45 bucks. And then if you want the rangefinder tether, that's going to tack on another $12. So overall total, you're looking at $207 without tax. If I compare that over to the Marsupial Bino Harness, this Bino Harness is coming in at $105. It does come standard with the nice shoulder straps, so that's not an additional fee. The rangefinder pouch is going to run you 30 bucks, and then the connection tether for your rangefinder is going to run you another $11. So overall total, you're looking at $146 compared to $207. So there's about a $60 difference between these two Bino harnesses. And in my experience, you're not getting a whole lot more bang for your buck with the FHF when compared to the Marsupial. Now, let's talk about, because I mentioned this earlier in the video, why I decided to go with the standard Marsupial Bino Harness. And that's due to the fact that their enclosed Bino Harness, which is offered in a magnetic version and non-magnetic, for me was not as low profile as I prefer. I had originally purchased the enclosed version. I sent it back, and that's when I decided to go with the standard version. Like I said, for me, it's just a little more low profile. It stays a little tighter to the chest, and you're not dealing with all that extra bulk that you get with that standard enclosed one. Now, in addition to that, the standard non-enclosed Bino harness through Marsupial, I will say that the FHF Bino harness does a lot better job keeping your binos clean and free of debris, because once you set this up and you set it up properly, basically what the FHF Bino harness does is it creates a seal around the eye cups of your binos. So you'll still get debris going into the Bino harness on both of these, but the big thing is it's not actually getting into the eyepieces of your binos, whereas the Marsupial one, it is open all the way across. It doesn't do a great job at keeping debris from getting inside those eyepieces, but not a huge deal for me. Like I said, the majority of my hunting is done in the whitetail woods. If I was hunting in areas that had a lot of sand, a lot of dirt, that may be a deal breaker, which would lead me to go to a FHF style Bino harness, just because of the fact it does a much better job at keeping those eyepieces clean. But that's going to be it for this video. If you guys got any other questions, you can always drop me a comment below. If you guys have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Your guys' support greatly helps us out. And if you have not checked out MichiganAmbushOutdoors.com, please go over there. We do have some merch available. Your guys' purchases of that merch greatly supports this channel, keeps us doing what we're doing. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you on the next one.